Welcome to Modi Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: India's spat with Canada is a win-win situation for Modi. India Realty Tycoon says he used Lawmaker's login to query about Adani. India resists Russia pressure to pay for oil imports in Chinese yuan. Several Canadian diplomats leave India as dispute escalates. India's spat with Canada is a win-win situation for Modi. Foreign policy. India and Canada are currently embroiled in a diplomatic crisis following allegations made by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that there is a potential link between agents of the Indian government and the killing of a Canadian citizen in 2022. The Indian government denies involvement in the assassination but has criticized Canada for harboring the alleged terrorist. The crisis stems from New Delhi's concerns about the Khalistani movement, which seeks to establish a separate Sikh nation in Punjab. The Indian government has raised fears of Sikh separatists in recent years, particularly during the farmers' protests in 2020 to 2021. However, the data shows that Khalistan-related violence has been minimal compared to other terrorist threats in India. The Modi government's response to the alleged Khalistani threat has raised questions about its significance. Despite warnings about the Khalistani movement and its alleged ties to Pakistan, the Indian government supported the inauguration of the Kartarpur corridor, which allows Sikh pilgrims to travel between India and Pakistan. The corridor involved individuals associated with the Khalistani movement, including a Khalistani activist who was linked to a militant Islamist group. The Indian government's enthusiastic support for the corridor contradicts its claims about the Khalistani threat. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has gained popularity by presenting himself as a strongman who can protect India from various security threats. He has made bold claims about military operations against secessionists and terrorists, despite doubts about their veracity. The alleged Khalistani threat is another opportunity for Modi to project strength and rally nationalist sentiment ahead of the 2024 general elections. Meanwhile, Sikhs in Punjab are facing economic costs and growing fears as a result of the diplomatic crisis, with potential Canadian visas being frozen and concerns about being targeted by Modi's Hindu nationalist movement. India Realty Tycoon says he used Lawmaker's login to query about Adani. Bloomberg. Indian real estate tycoon, Darshan Hiranandani, has claimed that he used an opposition lawmaker's parliament login to raise questions against billionaire Gautam Adani's conglomerate. Hiranandani stated in a signed affidavit that Mahua Moitra shared her email and password, allowing him to malign and embarrass the Adani Group and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. Moitra has not yet responded to the allegation, and Hiranandani's statement comes ahead of a defamation case hearing filed by Moitra against a member of Modi's party. The controversy comes as the perceived close ties between Adani and Modi are becoming a flashpoint in the political landscape ahead of national elections next year. India resists Russia pressure to pay for oil imports in Chinese yuan. South China Morning Post. India has rejected demands by some Russian oil suppliers to pay for crude imports in Chinese yuan, according to senior Indian officials. Almost 70% of India's refiners are state-owned, meaning they must follow payment instructions from the Ministry of Finance. Private refiners could make payments in yuan, but no figures are available to show the extent of such payments. Russia has struggled to use the rupees with which it has been paid, as the currency is not fully convertible. Relations between India and China have been strained. Several Canadian diplomats leave India as dispute escalates. Yahoo! India has threatened to strip 41 Canadian diplomats of their immunity over allegations by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that the country helped orchestrate the killing of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. Canada has removed 41 staff from its embassy and consulates in India as a result. The diplomatic spat has put the US in a difficult position because it has spent years courting India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Dear viewers, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world, here to bring you the latest news and analysis. Today, we discuss the diplomatic crisis between India and Canada, India's real estate tycoon using a lawmaker's login, India's resistance to paying for oil imports in Chinese yuan, and the escalating dispute between India and Canada. Let's start with the India-Canada diplomatic crisis. Prime Minister Trudeau's allegations of Indian government involvement in the killing of a Canadian citizen have sparked tensions between the two countries. However, it is important to note that the data shows minimal Khalistan-related violence in India. The Modi government's response to this alleged threat has raised questions about its significance, as it supported the inauguration of the Kartarpur corridor, involving individuals associated with the Khalistani movement. This crisis presents an opportunity for Prime Minister Modi to project strength and rally nationalist sentiment ahead of the upcoming general elections in 2024. Moving on to the Indian real estate tycoon's claim of using a lawmaker's login to raise questions against billionaire Gautam Adani's conglomerate. This controversy comes at a time when the perceived close ties between Adani and Prime Minister Modi are becoming a flashpoint in the political landscape. With national elections approaching, the political landscape is heating up, and this case adds fuel to the fire. In the realm of international relations, India has resisted Russia's pressure to pay for oil imports in Chinese yuan. This rejection highlights the strained relations between India and China. While India has rejected the demands, it remains to be seen how this will impact the overall relationship between the two countries. Lastly, the dispute between India and Canada has led to the removal of Canadian diplomats from India. This diplomatic spat has put the United States in a difficult position as it has been courting Prime Minister Modi for years. This situation further complicates the already complex web of international relations. In conclusion, the headlines today highlight the dynamic nature of Indian politics and its impact on international relations. Prime Minister Modi is taking advantage of the diplomatic crisis to project strength and rally nationalist sentiment. The close ties between billionaires and political leaders are becoming contentious issues, adding fuel to the political landscape. The strained relations between India and China, as well as the diplomatic spat with Canada, showcase the challenges India faces on the global stage. Now, it's time to hear from you, my dear viewers. What are your thoughts on these developments? Do you have any questions or insights to share? Let's engage in a lively discussion and explore the intricacies of these news stories together. Remember, in the 6 Degrees world, there's always more than meets the eye. Dr. 6. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6 Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6 Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6 Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6 Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 Do Brief via email.